So good morning children. Today we are going to start with a story, The Sound Machine, which is written by Roald Dahl. As you all have done one more work by Dahl, which was a poem Television in class 9th. So you people are familiar with the style of writing the poet and with the style of writing of the author, that is Dahl. In the poem Television, if you are able to recall, you had read about the disadvantages which the poet, that is Dahl, had expressed in the poem about the use of television. And if we recall, the television could synonymously be used for technology, but he had presented his idea in a very exaggerated form, where he had warned the parents that parents should be aware of the fact that it is not only the advantage that technology is bringing along with it, that was the television, but it is also the disadvantage that technology brings along with it, which is very harmful to the people. Now, in this story, The Sound Machine, first of all, let me tell you that in this story, the author has talked about the sound which is produced and the sound which is actually audible to human ears. As you all are aware of the fact that we can hear sound which is up to certain decibels. There is a range of sound which could be heard, which can be heard by human ears, and below that range of sound we cannot hear such sounds which fall below that range and above that range. Similarly, in the story The Sound Machine, the protagonist of the story, that is the main character of the story, who happens to be Klausner, is presented as a man who was very much inclined towards science and technology, and he came up with the idea of developing a machine which could hear the sounds which were produced by sounds. And he said that according to him, these plants or the environment around us, there are certain sounds which are produced by plants when they get cut or when we try to harm plants. And he said that those sounds are such sounds which are below certain decibels, and they are beyond human hearing. They cannot be heard by normal human ears. So he came up with the idea, according to which he said that there can be a machine which can detect such sound, and then we can realize the pain that plants go through when we try to harm them. This idea he has presented in the story. Dahl has presented this idea in the story through the character of Klausner, where Klausner is very much, you can say, close to nature and Klausner is very much close to nature and wants people to be aware of the fact that when we harm plants, when we harm trees, they produce a very loud sound. According to him, it was loud, but it was beyond human hearing. And for that sound, he developed a machine so that the people can also realize that plants, they also go through pain when confronted with some sort of adversity, that is when we attack them or when we try to cut them or when we try to harm them. Now, before starting with the story, as you all can see, here is a box in which we can read about Dahl. So it is very important for all of us to read what is there in the box, as it gives us very fair enough idea about the style of writing of the author as well as what the story is going to deal with. So before starting, let us read it. Roald Dahl, 13 September 1916, 23 November 1990. Was a British novelist, short story writer, poet, screenwriter and fighter pilot. His books have been sold more than 25 million copies worldwide. Born in Wales to Norwegian parents, Dhal served in Royal Air Force during the Second World War, in which he became a flying ace and intelligence officer, rising to the rank of acting wing commander. He rose to prominence in the 1940s with works for both children and adults, and he became one of the world's best-selling authors. He has been referred to as one of the greatest storytellers for children of the 20th century. If you recall the previous work which you had read of Dhal, that was the poem Television, you can say that he is concerned with children. He presents ideas which are child-oriented. So he is very well recognized among young children. His awards for contribution to literature include the 1983 World Fantasy Award for Life Achievement, and the British Book Awards Children's Author of the Year 1990. In 2008, the Times placed Dhal 16 on its list of the 50 greatest British writers since 1945. Dhal's short stories are known for their unexpected endings, and his children's books for their unsentimental, macabre, often darkly comic mood, featuring villainous adult enemies of the child characters. His books champion the kind-hearted and feature on an underlying warm sentiment. Dhal's work for children include James and the Giant Peach, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda the Witches, Fantastic Mr. Fox, the BFG, the Twits and George's Marvelous Medicine. His adult works include Tales of the Unexpected. The Sound Machine was first published in the New Yorker 17 September 1949. It has appeared in the collection of More Tales of the Unexpected 1980, Some Like You 1984, and The Skin and Other Stories 2002. It combines science fiction with conservation in a fantastic tale that hovers between illusion and reality. Now, when we read the story, we will come to know that it will be difficult for us to realize that was there any sound which was heard by Klausner, who is the protagonist of the story, or was it just an illusion, and was it just his love, his affection towards wildlife or towards plants that made him believe that there was a certain sound which was produced by plants. Now, as it is written that the story is a science fiction, that is, fiction means something which is not true, fictitious, fake. It is a story, it has just been written, there is no ground reality to the story, but science fiction means something which is related to science. So, construction of machine is always the work of science, so is the audibility and the audible range of human beings and all, they all are scientific processes. That is why it is being said that the story is a science fiction. The Sound Machine by Roald Dahl. It was a warm summer evening. Klausner walked out quickly through the front gate and around the side of the house and into the garden at the back. He went on down the garden and until he came to a wooden shed, and he unlocked the door, went inside and closed the door behind him. The interior of the shed was an unpainted room. Against one wall on the left there was a long wooden workbench, and on it, among a littering of wires and batteries and the small sharp tools, stood a black box about 3 feet long, the shape of a child's coffin. Now, the narrator is saying that it was a summer morning when Klausner walked quickly through the front gate, and he came at the back of the garden. The narrator says that at the back of the garden there was a room which was unpainted, and the interior was not very good, and above it was a tin shed. And then as the narrator describes the room, the narrator says that inside the room there was a box around which there were glittering wires which were attached to the box, and the box was of the size of the shape of the coffin of a child. Coffin is, you can say, coffin is a box where dead bodies are kept. Where dead bodies are kept. Now, Klausner moved across the room to the box. The top of the box was open, and he bent down and began to poke and peer inside it among a mass of different colors, wires and silver tubes. Now inside the box, at the top of the box, which appeared like the shape of the coffin of a child, was placed in one corner of the room. So Klausner moved towards the box, and then as he went near the box, he started peeping inside the box, and the narrator describes that inside the box there were multiple wires of different colors and silver tubes were there. He picked a piece of paper that lay beside the box, studied it carefully, put it down, peered inside the box and started running his fingers along the wires, tugging gently at them to test the connections. Glancing back at the paper and then into the box, and then at the paper again, checking each wire. He did this perhaps for an hour. Now, the narrator is saying that this man Klausner, he kept on observing something, and next to the box there was a paper kept as he was settling the wires which were there inside the box. At the same time, he was looking at the paper, again looking inside the box as if he was settling something inside the box by looking into the paper, as if he was checking the connection of the wires. He did this perhaps for an hour, and he continued doing this perhaps for an hour. Then he put a hand around to the front of the box where there were 3 dials, and he began to twiddle them, watching at the same time the movement of the mechanism inside the box. Now, as the narrator is describing that in front of the box there were 3 dials which were attached to the box, and the narrator you can say rotating them, started rotating the dials that were there, and as the narrator was, as this man Klausner, as he was narrating, rotating the dials, at the same time he was looking inside the box as well to see what mechanism, what process was taking place when he was rotating the dials that were there at the front of the box. All the while he kept speaking softly to himself, and while he was doing all this work, while he was doing something with the box, he kept on speaking something to himself, nodding his head. Sometimes he nodded his head, sometimes he smiled, his hands always moving and the fingers moving swiftly, and his hand kept on moving and the fingers were also moving, and they were moving very quickly, deftly inside the box. His mouth twisting into curious shapes when a thing was too delicate or difficult to do. Now, the gestures that he was making, the facial gestures, they were also quite, you can say, they gave the impression as if he was very curious, and something when he was not able to understand, he gave different gestures, different expressions. And then he said, yes, yes, and now this one, and yes, yes, but this is right. So these are all the expressions that Klausner gave as he was testing, as he was having a look, as he was examining the box that is being described, which was kept at the corner of a room behind the garden, which had multiple wires, 3 dialing three dials that were there, the three regulators that were there, and as he rotated them, he peeped inside the box to see what mechanism or what process was taking place as they were rotated. Similarly, he kept on nodding his head, gave gestures as he was trying to understand, or sometimes he was confused regarding something. And then he said what he was also saying something. So what he said, yes, and now this one, yes, but is this right? Is this my diagram? Where is my diagram? Where is my diagram means, as he was referring to the paper which was kept next to the box, as he was not able to understand something, he looked at the paper and then he said, where is my diagram? Yes, of course, yes, that's right, and now good, yes. His concentration was intense. Intense means immense. His concentration was intense. Intense means immense. Great. His concentration was great. He was looking, he was examining, he was doing something with the box with great, tremendous amount of concentration. His movements were quick. Quick means very swift. His fingers were making very swift movement. And then there was an air of urgency. Urgency means excitement. There was some sort of urgency. He wanted to do something very quickly. About the way he worked, and it was very much apparent, it was very much visible about the way as he was working with the wires, with the box, with the things which were attached to the box. It gave the impression as if he was very much eager to do something. Urgency means eager. Of breathlessness, of strong suppressed excitement. And as he moved from one corner of the box to the other, there was some sort of breathlessness as well. That shows that he was trying to do something very quickly, and there was some sort of excitement which he was trying to hide. Suddenly he heard footsteps on the gravel path. Gravel path means rough path. Gravel path means rough path. So as he was working, he suddenly heard somebody approaching his place. And how he heard that person? He could feel that somebody was walking on the rough path that was there outside, and he straightened and turned swiftly, and he got alert and he turned quickly. As the door opened, a tall man came in. As the door opened, as he turned quickly to look at the door, he saw that a tall man had entered. It was only Scott the doctor, and it was only Scott the doctor who had come. It was only Scott the doctor who had come. Well, the doctor said, so this is where you hide yourself in the evenings. Now the doctor told this man Klausner that, is this a place that you hide? We are not able to see you in the evening. So is this a place where you hide yourself away from us in the evening? Hello, Scott, said the Klausner. Now, Klausner said, as Klausner greeted Scott, he said, "Hello, Klausner." Hello, Scott. Klausner said, I happened to be passing. The doctor told him. The doctor said that he was just passing through that way. So I dropped in to see you, how you were. And then Dr. Scott told Klausner, as he was passing from there, he thought of stopping there and inquiring about Klausner's health. There was no one in the house, so I came on down here. Now, Dr. Scott is explaining to Klausner why he had come to that room, and he says that since he could not find anyone inside the house, that is why he had come there. And how's that throat of yours been behaving? Now, since he's a doctor, that is why this line is being mentioned. He inquires from Klausner how your throat has been behaving. That is, how is your throat? That means he must have suffered from some sort of throat infection, which is not revealed as of now, but later on, as we will read, we will see that it will be revealed. Now we are going to stop here today. We will continue from here on in our next class. Till then, thank you so much, children. May you all have a wonderful day.